And I got a bunch of angry text messages saying, yeah, he turned it down because he couldn't have complete control. Yeah, okay. So
that might be part of
that's fine. But the narrative that nobody wants to hire Bill because he's an old head, can't relate to today's players.
That's what I thought.
Can't assemble a roster. That narrative, I think, is incorrect.
Not really. I mean, they didn't want Bill to do what he did here, there.
And Bill,
what you mean? What he did for 20 years?
No,
was deliver Super Bowl after Super Bowl, or just judging him on the last 4 years, Curtis? Including one.
It's a decade of judgment, but
including 1 year, which was a COVID year.
Okay. Well, no, I'm saying I wasn't talking about performance. I'm saying that they didn't want him to do, which is run the whole operation. Bill wanted to do what he did here, which is run the operation.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let him do that.
Yeah,
well, maybe out the blank see that we don't know, right? Maybe out the blank wanted him to do that, but the other people were like, well, maybe, then where's that leave us? And out the blank's loyal to some of the people there. And Bill goes, you know what? If you're not going to give me complete control, I'm walking away. I'm turning. So he's
goes against everything Bill said to us, though.
Right, but maybe, who knows his lips are. I just look at, when I hear Boomer say that and he seems like he's plugged in, I believe that Bill turned it down because he felt like there were going to be better opportunities for him next year.
You don't know why he turned it down. Maybe he didn't want to deal with a meddling owner. Maybe he didn't look at the situation. They need a quarterback. And maybe he didn't look at that situation as being the one in which he is able to win a Super Bowl in a reasonable amount of time. Because I think that's what he wants.
And I agree with that. So because I would think that if the Dallas thing was a realistic opportunity for him, that owner's meddling, but they have all the pieces that he might, or you'd have to see if he turned that down, then you could say, oh, he doesn't want to deal with a meddling owner. But I think that it's more about he wants to be in a situation where he knows, hey, if I only got 3 years, I can set the record and I have the chance of winning a Super Bowl.
My question for you, Greg.
Hold on, one quick message for somebody in Twitch.
Oh, gosh.
You can watch this show on Twitch every day. Thank you to those of you who do. You can also participate in a lively, sometimes verbally violent chat on Twitch every day.
Hi.
And somebody says, stop it, Greg. You don't have to kiss his ass anymore. I'm not kissing Bill Belichick's ass. I am merely assessing the work that the man did here. And the words that I hear from actual NFL players who played for the guy, like Wiggy or Ty Law or Devin McCourty or Rob Ninkovich or countless others who talk about what an extraordinary coach he still is. So I find that when it comes to those who say, the guy ruined the Patriots, he can't coach anymore, you have a surprising lack of appreciation for what he did here. And you're also buying into a narrative that is being spun suddenly now about how awful he was so as to explain the reason why you're parting ways, in my humble opinion. Anyway, go ahead, Curtis. Sorry.
Why are the Patriots so far away from a Super Bowl if Bill's goal was to win a Super Bowl quickly?
I don't know why.
I know why, because they invested in the wrong. They invested in a quarterback that his upside wasn't very good.
The 49ers traded an entire draft to get Trey Lance at 3, and they're in the Super Bowl.
No, but they also had good talent, and they were able to hit on. They also traded for Christian McCaffrey, which I think changed the dynamic of that team.
Did the 49ers do anything against the rules?
No, they didn't.
So why were they able to screw up so badly, and the Patriots
because they were already in a good position where they could afford to make a mistake.
They sucked
the
for so long.
Where they could afford to make a mistake.
What round was Debo selected in?
Second round.
So why didn't the Patriots take him?
The 49ers also sucked for a number of years consistently, which allowed them to get top 5 picks, which allowed them to get a guy like Nick Bosa.
Okay, but Debo's not a top pick. Debo's the second. Their quarterback was the last pick in the draft.
No, I know that. but they also have.
By the time Purdy was playing, the team around him was very, very
But my
good.
point is simply that
So what's the point?
We keep talking about how Bill wants to go to a team that's ready to win. Well, he was in charge of everything here, and they couldn't be further away from winning.
Well, they because they chose to go with a guy, and Bill was part of this, with a quarterback that didn't help them.
Well, okay. Also, he's been doing business in a league in a space where every intent is made to create parity. Like, did you think he was going to dominate the league for every single season that he was ever in it?
And he missed on guys.
It's an outrageous explanation. Yes, he missed on guys.
Just
he
happens.
missed on N'Keal Harry. People miss on draft picks all the time.
Okay, Jacoby Myers across the street yesterday told the afternoon show in Vegas that he was $1 million off staying with the Patriots. And Bill Belichick said, see you later. The number one target of Mac Jones, a guy, you want to say what players say about Bill? Yeah. Have you ever heard a player say a negative word about Jacoby Myers?
So it was Bill who did that deal, unlike the Devin McCourty deal or anybody else who told you that Bill said, love to pay you whatever you want. You go to talk to Robert Kraft about it?
Yes, I believe that Bill Belichick...
So Devin McCourty is being disingenuous?
When has Devin McCourty said that...
He said it on our show.
That what? That Bill Belichick dictates how many millions of dollars you spend on every player? Or Robert Kraft?
No, that when Devin McCourty wanted a new deal, he was told that he had to go and do that deal upstairs.
Okay. Wiggy, who do you think made the Jacoby Myers deal?
I would say that probably was a Bill thing.
Right.
And I think he's wrong. But I know Bill, like, that's the thing. Bill has missed on guys, but I don't...
But that's a huge miss, a guy that you know can play here, and instead you bring in a guy that had shot legs for more money.
Right. But that's every organization. Every organization does that.
No, the Patriots retain.
You just talked
like
about
that.
San Francisco. San Francisco, they reached for the 3rd overall pick in Trey Lance, and they missed on it. You know, you look at other teams that they try to get guys and they miss on. That's part of being somebody in the front office. Like, I get that part of it. For every bad player, but you could name for Bill, you could name another good player. Did they go after the right position with N'Keal Harry? Yes. Did they miss the wrong guy? Yeah. But did they hit on Gronkowski? Did they hit on Kyle
Edelman.
Duggar? Who's that?
Edelman.
Did they hit with Edelman? Did they hit on Ramondre Stevenson? Like, there's so many players. I'm looking strictly at why this team wasn't good for these past 2 years. I think part of it was some of the coaching, but I also believe their quarterback wasn't good enough to elevate the players around him that might not have, they weren't elite players. They were average players, and if you're a below average quarterback, you can't elevate average players.
This is Bill from Newton. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Greg. I understand you're, upset about this Belichick thing, and your comment was everyone has a surprising lack of appreciation for what that guy did over the years. And you know what? It sounds like you're right, but did Bill have a surprising lack of appreciation for what Brady did when he just decided to let him walk over money? Did he have a surprising lack of appreciation for Rob Gronkowski, for Kyle Van Noy, for the dozens and dozens of players who Bill deemed, you know what, it was time to move on?
Well,
all the Bill Belichick lovers said, you know what, Bill always walks away at the right time. Don't you think it was time, dude?
I mean, if you're talking about trading Gronk, is that what you're talking about, to Detroit?
I'm just talking about the fact that he clearly wasn't wanted here.
I don't know. Do you hear Gronk say a lot of negative things about Bill Belichick, or do you hear him express the exact same sentiment that I'm expressing, which is the guy should be coaching somewhere? Isn't that what Gronk says? We've played 5.
You guys all say the right things.
Okay,
but
so now they're lying. I get it.
Whoa. What was he say? Hey, what did he say when he left? Didn't he text Amendola, go be free?
Be free.
Yeah, because the guy wanted to be on because the guy wanted to be on social media. They did.
Greg, you know I'm right on this. Bill lets go of guys at the right time when he thinks their time is done.
Yeah.
The Patriots just did the same thing to Belichick, and you're upset about it. It was clearly time to go.
Well, the Gronk thing is different. The Gronk thing is Gronk got his money.
Fine.
Gronk got his money.
Bill,
Gronk got his money, but Gronk didn't like the way Bill coached. Gronk didn't like that military style of coaching.
He did for a while.
But then
when he wanted to build the Gronk character,
he didn't like that. And I get that part of it.
Fine, I got that. That's great. I love Gronk. The man was in here massaging my back. I was shirtless. I love Gronk.
My point remains, Greg. The guy was let go at the right time. Nobody has any severe lack of appreciation for Belichick. The guy was great. But it's over. It's gone. He's a failure now. Let him go somewhere else and see if he can rebuild his legacy.
Yeah. He's a failure?
It is kind of funny hearing someone say there's a surprising lack of appreciation from a guy that created Tommy Trader shirts. But I'll let that stand.
Curtis, just when it comes to Gronk, I don't think it was just the character either. It was when Bill decided that he wanted to trade him, and then Gronk found out about it.
No. Gronk wanted to be traded, and Bill didn't want to trade.
No, originally Bill was going to trade him to Detroit.
Right.
Correct.
Right,
Gronk
because
didn't want to go.
That's because Gronk wanted out of here. Gronk wanted out. So Bill said, okay, you want out? I'm shipping you to Detroit. And then Gronk said, whoa. I want out, but I don't want to go to Detroit. And so Gronk said, you know what? The hell with it. I'm going to retire. Gronk wanted out because Greg's right in part. Gronk got to the point where, he wanted to promote his Gronk brand, which is great. But Bill only allows you to do certain things. Look at other organizations. You think players could have podcasts and do other things on the Bill, and that rubbed players the wrong way. I get it, and I get the military style of coaching, but you get to a certain point in your career where that's where Gronk was. He was like, I don't want this no more.
McCourty's had a podcast.
But the McCourtys, there were certain people, McCourty's podcast was super vanilla.
Also, like Bill did adjust. I think maybe he didn't adjust enough,
right.
But towards the end, he adjusted with the way what he allowed players to do, and he was never gonna embrace social media.
Right. When most guys bump heads with Bill, it's because of two things. Number one, money, and number two is the style of coaching. Oh, I don't want you calling me out in a meeting. Those are the only two reasons why people bump heads with Bill. And so we have to ask the question, did Robert say, here's a budget? And now Bill has to work in that budget and go, hey, Jacoby, I'd like to give you $1 million more, but it doesn't fit the budget. Or we think you're a solid player, but we think Juju Smith has more upside. So if we are going to give anybody more of $1 million, we're going to give it to that guy. And that happens a lot with undrafted players, which Jacoby Myers was. It happened with a guy like Julian Edelman. Hey, Julian, we love you, but we don't love you that much. Go see what you can get, but we'll give Amendola because they feel like maybe Amendola's got a little bit more of an upside.
Yeah, listen, Curtis, I don't mind you arguing that Bill cheaped out when it came to Jacoby Myers, but you have to at least acknowledge, based on what you were, I won't say reporting, what you were sharing earlier, which is that Robert Kraft cheaped out on Nick Caley.
Oh, I am not saying that Bill Belichick is himself solely to blame. All I'm saying is, if I'm another owner of another team and I'm evaluating the Patriots roster today, I would have a lot of questions for Bill Belichick as to how they landed here as one of the least talented rosters in the NFL. And before I handed him the keys to run my operation, I think Arthur Blank should have hired Bill Belichick. I don't think he should be without a job. You and I agree on that. The fact that Arthur Blank sided with Rich McKay over Bill Belichick is the height of stupidity.
And it's really just Belichick's offensive roster.
Right,
his
but
defensive roster was good.
But even on his offensive roster, the guys didn't live up to their performances. You can't tell me, Sean, that at one point in time, Trent Brown was one of the top 5 best tackles in the NFL. At one point in time, I believe it was Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith were amongst the top 10 tight ends in the league.
Juju Smith-Schuster had 900 yards receiving last year.
Right. So when you start to look at the offensive talent, they didn't live up to what we expected them to do. When Hunter Henry, when he first got here, I was like, oh, man, I remember him from the Chargers. He's going to be a good asset. Same with Jonnu Smith. And both of them coming into that season were viewed as top 10 tight end tandems in the NFL.
Hunter Henry was better than I think you gave him credit for.
But the money don't add up to his performance. When you're getting that type of money, you need to be at the top of the league in tight ends and pretty much every category: reception, yardage, touchdowns.
But he was never at the top anyways. He's just a classic 550, 600 yards receiving.
Right, but the money he got didn't add up to his production.
But that was an issue with the Patriots. They overpaid.
because they felt like he would now have the opportunity to live up to that. When the Patriots cut me, oh, you can't do it at this level, or this is what you are. Then I went to Minnesota and I led my team in receptions 2 years in a row. And I had Randy Moss on that team. And I set records in this because Minnesota felt like we're going to give you the opportunity that the Patriots weren't willing to give me.
I just think it is ludicrous to call Bill Belichick a failure.
Yeah, he's not
based on the last 4 years.
Has he swung and missed on players?
By the way, one of those years took a rookie quarterback to the playoffs. Like, that's a failure in the NFL.
No, that's good, but your rookie quarterback never evolved, never got better.
It's a bunch of like, what have you done for me lately? Spin masters that wanted to run the guy out of town, and they got what they wanted.
No, I agree with that.
That's fine. Let's see what he does elsewhere. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe he'll do nothing else ever again.
Well, and now we'll know. Let's see.
But to act like he didn't do anything here, it's offensive.
We got a little bit over a month to see what Robert Kraft does with free agency. When's free agency start? Like March, the second week in March. Mm-hmm. Let's see what he does when it comes to signing potential players or making real attempts to get people. Let's see if we get the rumors that they're willing to be in on a guy like Mike Evans. They're willing to be in on a guy like T. Higgins. They gave a contract offer to T. Higgins.
March 13th, starting at 4 p.m.
March 13th, they gave a contract offer to Chris Jones. Let's see what they're willing to do. And now I think you'll be able to see who had more of the financial power when it came to how much we give players.
Yeah. All right.